Please let the house be in order. Stand as we are led in prayer. The gentleman from DeSoto, Representative Hall, will introduce our guest minister today, who will lead us in prayer, and then he will return to the podium to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Gentleman from DeSoto.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. It brings me great honor to introduce Colonel Puckett to pray before us today. He is the chaplain for the Mississippi National Guard. I can tell you that he was my very first chaplain when I joined the service nearly 2 decades ago. And having known him this much time, I can tell you that he represents the very best and the brightest that our armed services has to offer. So I will ask, and I will tell you, Colonel Puckett, he is a Green Beret, he's a paratrooper. And for y'all that don't know what that means, it means that he's done it all, seen it all. And it brings me great honor to introduce Colonel Puckett.
Thank you so much, everybody. February the 3rd, 1943, 4 chaplains from 4 distinct faith groups perished as the U.S. Army transport Dorchester was sunk by a German submarine. Witnesses observed these 4 chaplains as they selflessly served others and locked arms in prayer as the ship went down. The Mississippi National Guard Chaplain Corps, on behalf of Major General Jansen D. Boyles, would be honored if all of you could join us tomorrow at 10 o'clock a.m. at the 2 Mississippi museums as we honor their sacrifice. A lunch reception will follow. Thank you for your consideration in that, and if you have questions, Representative Hall will be glad to answer any questions you may have about that. It's an honor to invite you to pray with me. Father, understanding the importance of a strong foundation, we acknowledge the words of the psalmist who said, "The Lord is my rock, my fortress, my deliverer, my God, my strength in whom I will trust, my shield and the horn of my salvation." And as we pray together, we humbly ask for your blessings on the deliberations and discussions that lead to decisions that affect many lives. We acknowledge the need for wisdom that is from above, with the hope of your word that tells us, if anyone lacks wisdom, let him ask of God. Thank you for these gathered in this chamber who have been appointed by God and chosen by their communities to represent and serve others. Thank you for their willingness to be servant leaders for the benefit of their communities, this great state, and our nation. Give them courage, strength, and wisdom to make decisions in the spirit of unity and cooperation. Grant them success in accordance with your will, that it may be a blessing to those they serve for generations to come. Bless their families who sacrifice in order that they may serve. We pray for our country that has been established by your will as a beacon of hope and freedom in the world. We pray that this nation, founded upon the principles that all men are created equal and endowed by their Creator with certain inalienable rights, life, liberty, the pursuit of happiness, would prosper as you guide and protect us. Bless the United States of America. Grant there be peace, provision, protection, and a path forward. Bless the great state of Mississippi. Help us live joyfully in accordance with your will and your way. Bless this great day. Thank you for your blessings in our lives. In Christ's name I pray. Amen.
Attention, salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Open the machine, Madam Clerk. Close the machine, Madam Clerk.
There's a quorum present, Mr. Speaker.
We will have the reading of the journal. Gentleman from Rankin, Representative Howell, moves we dispense with the reading of the journal. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. Report of select committees.
We have none, Mr. Speaker.
Report of standing committees.
We have reports on the calendar, Mr. Speaker.
Introduction of bills and constitutional amendments. Gentleman from Marion, Mr. Morgan.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I ask unanimous consent to dispense with the reading of the introductions.
Is there objection? Hearing none, Mr. Clerk, we will follow that procedure. Resolutions, petitions, memorials, and other papers.
We have none, Mr. Speaker.
Introduction of guests and visitors. Gentleman from Marion, Mr. Morgan.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. If you would, over in the South Gallery, North Gallery, we have probably, if not the best, one of the best circuit clerks in Marion County in the state of Mississippi, Jeanette Nolan. Give me a hand.
Welcome. Gentlemen, one of my circuit clerks from Carroll County is also in the North Gallery, so you started something by saying one of the best, but I've got one of the best as well. Y'all welcome him, longtime circuit clerk of Carroll County, Durwood Stanton. Other introductions. Gentleman from George, Mr. Lott.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and also I'd like to introduce in the North Gallery our circuit clerk from George County, is Mr. Chad Wilford.
Gentleman from Jones, Mr. Scoggin.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. In the North Gallery, if you will, help me recognize a group of advanced practice nurses, nurse practitioners. If y'all would stand, please. They're here today for Nurse Practitioner Capital Day. Help me recognize them. Thank you.
Gentleman from Bolivar, Mr. Sanders.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. If you all will help me make welcome my very own airport director from Cleveland, Mississippi, Mr. Clint Johnson.
Gentleman from Lauderdale, Mr. Calvert.
Mr. Speaker, I'd like, and ladies and gentlemen of the House, help make welcome my supervisor, Josh Todd.
Lady from Harrison, Ms. Crawford.
Request.
You recognized.
I'd like to hold House Bill 539 on a motion to reconsider.
Thank you, lady. We will do that. If you'll notify the chairman and the vice chairman. Okay, I don't see any further introductions. We will go to the calendar. Chairman of Gaming, gentlemen, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'd like to go to item 1, House Bill 774, call it up and make the usual motion.
Gentleman calls the bill up, moves the rules be suspended, the bill considered engrossed, read the third time, and placed on final passage. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. Gentlemen, you're recognized to explain the bill.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I have an amendment at the proper time.
You want to go ahead and offer your amendment?
Yes, sir.
You want to offer it and you're going to explain it with the bill? You want to, all right, explain the amendment.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Ladies and gentlemen, my amendment basically takes the 12% of the tax and puts it all 12% into the emergency road and bridge repair fund. I've heard from many of you. We've talked over since I dropped this bill on Monday. I've heard your concerns, and we feel that this will benefit everyone in this chamber and all Mississippians to divert all 12% to the road and bridge fund. That's the explanation of my amendment, Mr. Speaker.
Are there questions on the gentleman's amendment? I'm sure we're going to get into a discussion of the bill rather quickly, but are there questions on the amendment? Lady from Jones, you have a question on the amendment?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
You're recognized.
Gentlemen, what line, first of all, is your amendment going in the bill?
Just a second. Section 5 of the bill, ma'am.
All right, and what line is that? I mean, I'm in section 5. What line is that?
Line 189.
Okay. All right. Okay, gentlemen. Now, originally, in the original bill, where was the money being diverted to?
So 8% would go to the state and 4% would go to the locals, which would basically be 5 counties.
Okay, and so now you are diverting all of the monies from the that would have gone to those counties
Yes.
back to the state. Okay, now I'm not. Can you tell the House how much monies now are being diverted specifically to roads and bridges?
I can't tell you that exact number, but I can tell you when we passed the lottery bill, the first 80 million went to roads and bridges. Anything above that 80 million went to education.
Okay.
However, I'm not sure if there's another amount, but I know at least 80 million.
And then we have our state aid road budget that goes to roads and bridges. Is that not correct?
That's correct.
Well, let me ask you this. How much money do you think this will generate?
And you'll hear me say that later, 25 to 35 million, but I will tell you that it could possibly be over 50 million the first year. And you'll hear an explanation in my bill,
Okay.
in my presentation later.
And I guess the reason why I ask you that, because I don't know if the House is aware, but I believe somebody told me that we take in about $1.5 million every day in this state on lottery. And if 80% of that is going to roads and bridges, and we have other needs in the state, and we know, and you've indicated that you know that the lottery is going, we know that state roads and bridges is going, we know that they had a big influx from the ARPA dollars that came in and infrastructure dollars. So my question, I guess, to you is, did the committee just give any consideration to the money just going to the general fund and then letting the appropriators see where the need was for this 50 or 60 or could be no telling how many millions of dollars?
We looked at that, ma'am, and I would tell you this. You throw just 25 million into a $7 billion budget, that money gets lost very quickly. And I felt giving it all to roads and bridges, everyone in this room can go back to their district and to their constituents and say, I've brought something home. And as you know, I believe this year, I believe we're going to need another 100 million plus in roads and bridges. As you know, our roads and bridges need a lot of help, and it's not something we can just fix overnight. So in 2018, when we passed the lottery, that was just a start on what we could do for roads and bridges in all of our districts.
But you would agree that if the money went directly to the general fund, that if the appropriators saw a need, because if $25 million is a small amount in the overall picture of the budget, then we know that $25 million is a minuscule amount in what we put in roads and bridges. Gentlemen, I'm not criticizing you, but it's just that I think at some point we might ought to stop some of these diversions. I just wish the House would think about it. This will be law. And these diversions will continue. And we don't know what the future is going to bring. And if the general fund does have some wiggle room, then they could put more money into roads and bridges. But if they need
Lady,
to
I'll allow you to continue your interrogation on the bill. That time has expired
I'm
on the
sorry.
amendment.
Forgive me. Thank you, gentlemen, so much.
Thank you, ma'am.
Question now recurs on the adoption of amendment number 1. If you favor the gentleman's amendment, indicate by saying aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. The ayes have it. Amendment 1 is adopted. We are now on the bill, gentlemen.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to give you some details of what's going on around the country and our state before I get on the bill. Last year, as y'all know, we passed House Bill 606 that created a study committee on mobile sports betting. We met 3 times. We listened to experts come from all over and testify. We had a final report that was due and presented to the legislature that was available to you by December the 15th. So just to give you some facts, you had a handout on your desk yesterday. I hope y'all still have that. I'm going to start with the handout. Mississippi is #1 for illegal online sports betting in the country. Mississippi was the highest state for searches on illegal offshore accounts as a percent of all Google searches. Out of 202 metro areas measured by Google, Mississippi has 6 of the top 10 right here in our state. Something on the back of the handout that's very important to me that I'll explain a little later is if you look at the Google searches for Mississippi, 70% are for an illegal sports book. Our neighboring states, Tennessee and Louisiana, it's opposite. 80% is going to a legal site. Only 30 is looking for the illegal sites. So you can see when I tell you this number, and as I told the lady, the 25 to 35 million we're estimating could be a lot higher because it's estimated that 64 billion was wagered on illegal sports bets across the United States last calendar year. Mississippi makes up 5% of that market, which is $3 billion. So you could possibly take that $3 billion, and if we roll from the illegal to the legal, 80% of that, we could be a lot higher than 25 to 35 million. As y'all all know, on the lottery, we thought 80 million would probably be our cap. We've been above it ever since we passed it. So, some other information, the geo-comply information and data from Mississippi, and these numbers are pretty enormous. Mississippi had 9.3 million checks, which means 9.3 million people tried to place a legal sports bet in our state last year. Texas had 5 million. So that shows you that how many Mississippians are wanting to use a legal site and utilize mobile sports betting. We're losing our people to Tennessee and Louisiana. I can't tell you how many people drive across, place a bet, come back. Mississippi loses out on those tax dollars. We don't collect anything off of the illegal sites. Another stat I'd like to share with you is there was a 37% increase in new sports betting accounts created from devices in Mississippi over a 1-month period following the kickoff of the NFL season from 22 to 23. Give you some information about our neighboring states. Tax revenues from mobile sports betting in Tennessee, where it's legal, last year was $83.6 million. Louisiana, which is mobile sports betting is legal, was $40.3 million. So if you look at their numbers and I'm giving you the low end of 25 to 35, and then you take in the illegal market, you see that we possibly, this isn't factual, but we could hit 50 million the first year coming back to our roads and bridges. So I want to give you that information before I get to the bill. The bill basically outlines mobile sports betting. If you go to section 1, it gives you the definitions of online race book, online sports pool, platform, and you'll hear me say platform many times. Platform, and as some of y'all might know, equals, you hear a skin. And that's one of the things that we did to protect our bricks and mortar casinos. So section 4 limits the licensed gaming establishment to one platform, which means they can partner. You have to be a bricks and mortar casino and partner with DraftKings, FanDuel, as y'all have probably heard those names. So DraftKings and FanDuel cannot come into our state and just open their own sports book and keep send the tax dollars and keep the revenue. It stays with the bricks and mortar casino. All players are required to establish wagering that includes initial identification and age verification. Authorizes a player to establish a wagering account with a platform in person at a licensed establishment or over the internet. That was something we looked at. Do we do in-person registration or do we do remote? As y'all know, we've been looking at this bill for 4 years. We've watched other states, and the in-person was not working. The industry as a whole says remote is what they preferred and would work for the state of Mississippi. It limits the platform to only accepting wagers from players located in Mississippi. That goes back to the geolocation. So you have to be in the state of Mississippi. If you have an account and you drive across to Tennessee, you cannot place a bet in Mississippi. So it keeps it to Mississippi. That way people aren't placing bets outside. And let me explain that. If you have a DraftKings account, once you sign up, you would have to register in Tennessee. You would be registered in Tennessee, but then it would go into Tennessee dollars. They would get the tax revenue from it. Same way when they come into Mississippi, it protects Mississippi and it keeps the tax dollars here. A person under the age of 21 shall not play, be allowed to play, place a wager, or collect any winnings, whether personally or through an agent. And that goes back to just protecting underage people from placing bets. The platform shall comply with all identification, verification, and compulsive and problem gambling. So we've got that part of the section to protect against compulsive and problem gambling people. Requires the casino's mandatory reporting of suspicious online activity. As you know, our casino, our market, we're a model around the United States for our gaming. And it just keeps that language in there that makes sure that they report any suspicious activity, anybody underage trying to place a bet. Section 5 provides that the gross revenue shall be subject to the same license fee credits as other gaming licensees. And then Section 6 through 24 just conforms to current law. Mr. Speaker, that's an explanation of the bill.
Questions on the bill? Gentleman from Adams for a question.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I have an amendment at the proper time. Gentlemen, will you yield?
Yes, sir.
A couple of things. You said to the lady from Jones that it would generate $30 to $35 million. That's the projection, and it could be upwards of 50 if we look at what happened with the lottery funds.
I said 25 to 35.
Oh, 25 to 30, I'm sorry.
But personally, if you look back at what the lottery did, I think we could hit 50. That's just me saying the 50.
And you had task force hearings. I came to one of them. But there's been a peer report that has come out that examined. So in 2021, people who actually play sports bet at the casino, we got I'm looking at the peer report now, 5.2 million in 2021 and 4.9 million in 2022 and 4.9 million in 2023. They go on under the peer report. Have you seen this report?
Yes, sir.
And so under the peer report, the projection is that it would generate not 25 million, but just 12 million by 2029. Do you disagree with the report, or where are your figures coming from?
My figures came from the Gaming Commission.
So the peer, you dispute the findings of the peer committee? Wouldn't they have gotten their information from the Gaming Commission?
I'm not exactly sure where they got that information from.
But you know we rely on them for their research and statistics.
And I'm not saying they're wrong. I'm just telling you, most of the information I've got is projected at 25 to 35 million.
I understand. And I voted for your amendment, and we'll probably vote for the bill. But what I want to know is, it would make a difference to me if we're only going to generate $12 million from sports betting and mobile betting. It would seem that, as the lady from Jones talked about, it may be better for it to go somewhere where it would have more of an impact. But I saw the peer report. I just wanted to ask that question. One other question. When I was in committee, I asked a question about where would the money go from the, in terms of how would the 4%, where would it go? You told the lady from Jones it would go to the 5 counties that have gaming. Is that correct?
Previously, before my amendment passed.
Before your amendment passed. But the truth is that under the bill, it's not the truth, but what you told me in committee is that if you have a mobile betting platform, they're not a casino, they'd have to partner or have a contract with a casino here in the state of Mississippi. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And so if FanDuel or DraftKings, or now we got ESPN and Disney getting involved, they could partner with a casino in Harrison County, and if I were on the FanDuel platform in Adams County, where my casino is, that money would follow wherever I have a contract, FanDuel's contract. So it would go whoever they have a contract with that casino. Isn't that correct? That's what you told me in committee.
So if DraftKings partners with, let's just say, the Imperial Palace.
Yeah.
Whatever they work out on their contract.
Right.
You know.
But if I'm betting on DraftKings and there's money generated from that, it would go to the Imperial Palace.
That's correct.
It wouldn't go to Magnolia Bluffs and Natchez. It wouldn't be equally distributed to 5 counties. It would go wherever that contract is. Isn't that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. And under your amendment, that 4% now would never see a local casino. Is that correct? Oh, it would still have to go to the casino before it came back to the Roads and Bridge Fund.
That's correct.
And so that 4%, whatever that contract, whatever their agreement is, whatever FanDuel would make on it and whatever their contracted casino would make on it, they get their money off top, and then you send it to the roads and bridges.
That's just tax dollars. They're not, the casino's not keeping that 4% anyway. They're just sending it back to the locals.
Right.
Instead of going to the locals, now we're sending it to roads and bridges.
Well, I know, but my point is that if I'm a platform and I contract with a casino, we're making money. That's why we have the contract. Isn't that correct?
I mean, you hope to make money.
Right, and the only people making money are the 2 people that have a contract.
Yeah, because that's what casinos do. I mean, they're in business to make money.
That's my point. I'm not arguing with that.
Right.
But my point is that the platform, the money from the platform, when you bet in Mississippi, it doesn't go to every casino in Mississippi. It goes to the casino that you have a contract with.
That's correct.
Okay.
And whichever casino you chose to bet with.
Yeah, but if you're on a mobile platform like FanDuel, they are not a casino. They have a contract with a casino. So if they contract with a casino in Harrison County, that money would go to the casino in Harrison County.
But you're going to have to go to whatever casino it's tied to and register with that casino.
But that
DraftKings and FanDuel is not going to be able to just hit up everybody. I mean, they can do their own marketing, which every casino is allowed to do.
Yeah.
But it's going to be tied to one bricks and mortar casino.
Right, not 5, or not all the casinos in the state.
That's right.
Okay, that's my point. So they can contract with whoever they want to contract with. If I'm in Adams County and nobody has a contract with Magnolia Bluffs, and everybody is on a site betting, but they would otherwise be on the casino in Natchez betting, that money is going to go wherever there's a contract.
That's correct.
All right, that's my point. Okay, all right, I have an amendment at the proper time.
Gentleman from Harrison, Mr. Felsher.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Gentlemen, yield.
Yes, sir.
First of all, I want to thank you for your hard work on this bill. The original bill that you thought was fit and that I actually agreed with and co-sponsored at the time had a traditional 12% gaming revenue with 8% going back to the state, 4% for the cities. Why did that change?
Well, as in my opening remarks on my amendment, I heard from many members in here. We had many members that had concerns and felt like that since someone could be placing a bet in their county and they're not seeing anything from it, so we came to a compromise that it would be fair for the whole state of Mississippi.
Do you feel that's fair for the cities with casinos?
I mean, I can live with it. I'll tell you that because I feel like I'm going to benefit in my county through the roads and bridges.
Okay. Gentlemen, would you say that the casinos, that the cities could lose further revenue that have casinos due to people not being visitors there on site, buying food, maybe playing other doing other gambling there, things of that sort?
I wouldn't agree with that, and let me give you a stat on that. Mississippi was one of the few states who experienced a decline of 3.6% in sports handling last year, where other casinos who had passed mobile saw a decline in betting as a whole. So with those stats, we're not seeing a decline just because you passed mobile sports betting.
Okay, gentlemen. Well, I did like your first version better, but I appreciate your hard work on this.
All right. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Gentleman from DeSoto, Mr. Eubanks.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Will gentlemen yield?
Yes, sir.
There's no exclusivity clause, is there, so that one casino out of all the casinos in the state could mop up all of the DraftKings businesses? Or every casino could have a working contract with any of these?
There's not, and I checked into that because, we all like to use DraftKings and FanDuel, and then now we're hearing about ESPN Bet and Disney, and they can partner with multiple.
Okay, good. I just want to make sure it didn't
and
hurt
let me
one over the
clarify
other.
this too. I did some research. There's approximately anywhere minimum of 30 to 40 platforms out there. Platform being FanDuel, DraftKings. So there's 40 out there, and they're coming online every day. So with 26 casinos, I would feel like you will find a partner.
But there's no exclusivity to where only one casino in the state could have a contract with one provider.
No.
They could provide for multiple casinos.
That's right.
Okay, thank you.
Gentleman from Washington, Mr. Hines.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Gentleman, yeah.
Yes, sir.
Quick question. Would you think it would be a problem if we just required all those entities to contract with all brick and mortar casinos? Just contract with everybody that's already established in this state. Would anything be wrong with that?
So you're telling me to require all platforms that come into the state of Mississippi to partner with all casinos?
Yeah, partner with all casinos. They're already established in place.
Well,
what would be wrong?
You can only
with that?
have one platform per casino.
So if FanDuel came into the state of Mississippi, or ESPN, or who came into this state, and the established, what did you say, it was 26 casinos in the state?
Correct.
So what was wrong? What would be wrong with them having a contract with all 26 casinos?
Well, you're going back to the platform, the skin, and that was a way of protecting bricks and mortar. So it would protect the bricks and mortar where there's only one skin per casino that they can partner with, and
so maybe
I'm not quite sure.
Maybe you're not understanding.
Yeah,
so we require any hospital in this state that's community hospital to accept Medicaid, Medicare. We require other entities to do business with every entity that come into this state. Blue Cross and Blue Shield can pick and choose who they want to work, but they work with all community hospitals. We got 26 casinos in this state. What is wrong with allowing everybody to have the same contract with everybody so all the brick and mortar casinos benefit from it? What would be wrong with that?
Well, I don't agree with that. And I will tell you, the one skin was agreed on by the industry. There was one casino that suggested they have two, but as overall, the industry as a whole only wanted one skin.
So what happens if the board?
It would become a monopoly if.
Well,
your smaller casinos would be hurt.
The smaller casino don't get hurt any way we go in this equation here, because if I'm just going to use the Beau Rivage for example. Beau Rivage got a $20 billion advertising budget. Harlow's and Greenville got a $1 million advertising budget. Who winning? If they can advertise,
and you can say that the same about Walmart, Amazon, or any company. I mean,
Walmart,
you got a free market.
Walmart has worn out every mom and pop store in this state. So I'm just asking for your consideration. Make sure everybody get the same contract. Let's keep it all above board. Let everybody make a little taste of money. Keep their casinos open. Because see, in the scheme of things, A lot of these casinos are, if not number 2 or 3 major employers in these communities. And the tax dollars and the stuff that goes back to the educational system and the same thing that goes back to the recreational system in all the communities, you take those casinos away, everybody lose. So what would be wrong with everybody that already has established a brick and mortar place, get a little slice of the pie? I'm just asking, could you think about, will you think about that?
To understand you correctly, you're saying that we require every platform to partner with every casino?
Absolutely.
Yeah, gentlemen, I've never heard
I don't, they want this, so why wouldn't they want to be open-minded?
That's never been brought up through 3 task force meetings, so I would have to disagree with you.
Okay, I don't see any further questions on the bill. I'll recognize the gentleman from Adams for an amendment.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Could the clerk, I'll just read the title of the amendment, Amendment 1. I'll explain it.
You're recognized.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, I think sports betting, mobile betting is inevitable, so I'm going to vote for the bill. But what I'm concerned about is I represent a small market casino market. I have 1 casino in my district. Vicksburg is a small casino market. Washington County, Greenville is a small casino market. So large platforms like FanDuel and DraftKings, there's no incentive for them to partner with small market casinos because the law as it's written only requires, this bill as it's written, only requires them to have a license with 1 casino. They don't have to. They can only have a license with 1 casino. They can have a license with 1 casino in the state. You could have 5 platforms all licensed with 1 casino. So the revenue that's generated, the jobs that are created in that local casino are going to be enhanced with the money from those platforms because they're coming to that casino. So if my constituents are on FanDuel or DraftKings and their contracts are with a casino on the coast, and if I were a big platform, I want to be with a big casino. So if they're with that casino on the coast, all the money that they would otherwise be placing a bet with, and you heard the chairman say the money would go with wherever the contract is. So if I'm placing a bet in Natchez, if I have 4,000 people placing a bet in Natchez on FanDuel and their contract, or DraftKings, their contracts are with a casino on the coast, all that revenue, all those jobs that created that casino, follow that money down there. And I have a responsibility not to be disruptive, but to make sure that I protect the jobs and the opportunities that are available in my community. Now, the other thing it does, I know we've taken this alleged $25 to $30 million and spread it out to everybody. And if I wasn't a casino county, I'd want some of it too. But that casino, there were sacrifices made. There was heat put on people who voted and put those casinos there, and we absorbed all those negatives. But what came with it was revenue for your school system and your counties. Well, that's gone. We're going to get a little trickle of whatever we would have gotten out of sports betting. That's fine. But if the casino employs people in my district and the revenue that they would otherwise be getting from people going on that boat, as we call it, and placing that bet is going to go to the coast, it would be irresponsible for me to stand by and watch that happen. So all this amendment does is say there's something called geofencing. That's how they know. That's how they know if you try to place a bet out from, with a Louisiana casino and you live in Mississippi, they can stop it, or you can't place it because there's geofencing. So my amendment, all it says is that because of geofencing, I can determine where you're placing your bet. So if you place a bet within 40 miles of the Natchez casino, if you place a bet within 40 miles of a Greenville casino, or 40 miles of a Harrison County casino, anywhere, then that money follows. It goes where your casino is located. I don't care who they have a contract with. That's where it goes. Now, if you're in Tupelo or you're in Meridian, all those glorious places east of I-55, if you're in any of those places, that money would go to Harrison County. All my amendment says is that a little place like Natchez, where the grass is greener and the water is sweeter and whatever else Mr. Holloway said. All that good stuff. That money would go to Natchez. Now, it may not be but a little bit, but it keeps that small Magnolia Bluffs casino open and keeps people employed. That's all it does. I am not interested in doing any harm to the bill, but my responsibility is to represent and take care of the people, and I would ask you to vote not to take it wouldn't affect the 12% that's going to go to roads and bridges, but the profit that the casino would make, that they can keep their people employed, would follow where people are placing those bets in our area. That's all it would do. I would love to keep all of it, but you'll still get the emergency fund for roads and bridges, but the revenue that the casino could use to keep people employed would follow that 40-mile geofence radius. So that's all it does. I'll yield for any questions.
Gentleman from Harrison, Mr. Hullum, for a question.
Does the gentleman yield?
Yes.
So, gentlemen, my question is, so you saying that the revenue generated by that casino, by that platform, according to this amendment and what was put out in the committee meeting, you want the monies to go to the town,
yes,
schools,
yes,
municipalities,
yes,
within a 40-mile radius?
Yeah, in that county, Adams County, if you place a bet within a 40-mile radius, that we rely on that. We rely on that revenue. Yes, I think the people who have been relying on that revenue for the last 20 plus years, 30 plus years, that those jobs that it creates, that revenue to the school system, that may be gone with the previous amendment, but that's all it does. You're exactly right. We talked about, you asked that question in committee, and that's why I thought about it. You're right. That money that's generated from mobile sports betting, county, those local casino county roads, all that traffic that you don't have in your county, that people coming in and out to go to the casino, that helps do that. And that helps take care of your school system, those things. You asked that question, and the answer to your question that you asked, just you asked me now, yes, that's what it would do. And that's all I'm trying to preserve.
So my last question is like a follow-up question to this, all right? And I know everybody want to poke the bear at the Gulf Coast.
Yeah.
All right? We know the biggest and most best tourist attraction in Mississippi is the Gulf Coast.
We can argue about that.
Shouldn't we get the bulk of the revenue because all people are putting in most of the issues when it comes to law enforcement, schools? So we got schools underserved.
Yeah.
You know, so that, and our roads need done.
Yeah.
But most importantly, as you saw when you came down to the coast, we have communities on the coast that look just like the Delta.
Yeah.
We have issues west of Highway 49 that look like west of 55.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm in favor of this, been getting the monies, no matter whether it be to schools, municipalities, or even through roads and bridges.
Yeah.
I'm just making sure that I'm hearing exactly what you're saying. Thank you,
You are, thank you.
Gentleman from Harrison, Mr. McKnight.
Motion, Mr. Speaker.
I had to find you, gentlemen. There you are. What's your motion?
I move to table the gentleman's amendment.
The gentleman's motion is to table amendment number 2. Those opposed have 5 minutes.
Thank you. I would, can I go?
Yes, sir.
I would only say, I know we got these tabling motions, that's fine. The public is smart enough to know when you vote to table a motion, you're voting yea or nay on a bill, that's okay. Well, I would suggest to you that we're here to serve as legislators. We're here to do legislative work, have open and friendly debate, explore facts and make sure we got all the information correct. We're not here to shove issues down anybody's throat or to ignore concerns that members have. I'm done. I mean, I don't see where there's a need to table it. If you don't like the amendment, just let's vote it up or down. So I would ask that vote that you were going to vote to table, that you decide that you vote not to table. And then if you don't like my amendment, come back and vote against my amendment. But we don't have to get involved in this hide and seek approach to passing legislation. Let's just be men and women and stand up and let your voice be heard. So I would ask for you not to table the amendment. And I would ask all my members to stand for the vote.
Gentleman from Tunica, Mr. Burnett.
Speaker.
For what purpose?
Question. Simple question.
You can speak to the motion. We're on the gentleman's motion. You got 3 minutes.
Well, I
You can speak against it if you the motion to table, yeah.
All right, gentleman yields podium. The question occurs on the gentleman's motion to table the amendment. If you favor that amendment, indicate by if you favor that motion, indicate by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, no. No. The ayes have it. The ayes have it. Roll call is demanded. There is sufficient number. Open the machine, Madam Clerk. If you favor the motion to table, vote aye. If you're opposed, vote nay. Has everyone voted? Has everyone voted? Close the machine, Madam Clerk. By a vote of 77 yeas, 35 nays, the motion is adopted. Anything further on the bill, Mr. Chairman?
Ladies and gentlemen, I'd just like to say I think we've done a very good job with this bill. A couple things I want y'all to know. Today, Georgia's Senate passed mobile sports betting out. As we all know, in the next couple weeks, Alabama's coming with a full gaming package. All I'm doing is try to give another product to our casino industry in our state to stay competitive, and I feel like that's what we're doing. So if you look at surrounding states and you look at what happened today in Georgia, just keep that in mind that we keep Mississippi moving forward. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Chairman, would you yield for another question? Gentleman from Tunica.
Sure.
Gentleman from Tunica, Mr. Burnett, for a question.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Gentleman Yeo.
Yes, sir.
All right, simple question. We have 25 casinos, correct?
26.
26. All right. Does all 26 casinos have an opportunity to obtain a platform?
Absolutely.
Okay.
And as you know, gentlemen, we have we have sports betting in our state right now.
Right. So, the gentleman from Adams, if his casino chose to obtain that platform, their market is increased to the entire state of Mississippi. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. So that means that they can advertise with their private dollars and advertise in Tupelo, as well as the Gulf Coast.
That's correct.
As well as in Tunica and DeSoto, correct?
That's correct.
Okay, so that means their market has increased. They're not taking any money away from Adams County or Tunica or anywhere. They stand a chance of increasing revenue, correct?
That's correct.
Okay, and then the percentage of the money that is generated is going to the general fund for the entire state.
That's correct.
Correct. And the local market is
well,
still
it's going to
get
roads
their,
and bridges, not the general fund. It's
yeah, that's what I mean. That's what I mean.
For roads and
but
bridges.
that 4% is still going to the local government that they can get from Tupelo. Is that correct?
Well, the 4% does not still go to that local. All 12% of the tax dollars is going
so
to
no local money is going to the local government at all?
No, it's, well, I mean, they get it back through the roads and bridges.
Okay, all right, but it's not taking anything away from them?
That's correct.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Lady from Hines, Ms. Summers, for a question.
Sir, yes, sir, Mr. Speaker.
You're recognized.
Will the gentleman yield?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, the gentleman from Tunica just confused me. Does the casino go after the contract, or is the vendor going after the casino for the contract?
Well, it's a partnership. You know, like I said, there's 30 to 40 platforms out there. So I'm sure that, if I had to guess, and I can't say for sure, that the platforms are probably engaging the casinos to see if they can work up a business deal.
Okay, so the vendor decides which casino they want to maybe I just need to word it a different way.
Yeah,
the vendor
that's
decides
correct.
which casino they want to contract with. So ideally, the vendors could contract with just one casino in the state. Is that correct?
So it's a business deal, just like any business deal. You come to me and we negotiate that I'm going to get 3% because you're going to put so many million into advertisement, and then after so many years we might flip over to where I get 5% and your advertising cost goes down. That's just free. That's just whatever how they negotiate it within the regulations and the rules of the Gaming Commission.
Sure. I just want to make sure that I'm clear that the way that the language is now, that one casino could benefit from all mobile sports betting if the vendors decide to just contract with that single casino.
Well,
So
you can only-
casinos in Greenville, casinos in other parts of the state, if they don't get the contract, they don't, clearly, if they don't get the contract, they don't benefit. So
Well-
there's nothing in there that provides any equity in terms of.
It doesn't say that you're guaranteed a platform.
Okay. Okay, thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you, ma'am.
Gentleman from Adams, for what purpose?
Just a clarification to follow up. The gentleman from Tunica said that Natchez Casino would have a platform. There's no casino in the state of Mississippi that has a platform right now.
Gentlemen, is that a question of the
That is
chairman?
a question. Is there a casino in Mississippi that has a
I
platform?
believe the Beau Rivage has BetMGM.
And that's outside of the state. A mobile platform, no
So-
casino can have one right now inside the state. Is that correct?
Okay, so with geofencing, don't hold me to this, but I believe you can have mobile online sports betting within a casino on the floor of the casino. I believe the Beau Rivage and one other already has it, where you can get on your phone in the casino floor.
Right. But you can't be outside of the casino and do it.
That's correct. That's what this bill would allow.
And the truth is, you found out during the hearing, you know this anyway, the idea that a small casino in Natchez could have a platform, there's nowhere where a small casino has a platform. They can't afford the servers, and they can't sustain the service. Is that what I heard from the research that I've heard? Isn't that correct?
That's correct. And I will say this to you, I don't know exact, but in Vicksburg, some of those smaller casinos, they already have partners. They've already partnered with people.
Yeah, but there is no guarantee that anybody has a partner. The gentleman from Tunica suggested that it's a free market. Anybody who wants a partner can get a partner. But the lady from Hines is right. The vendor, the platform decides who they want to partner with. It's not the casino that makes that decision.
Well, the casino, obviously, they get into a business deal together. So it's no different. I can't guarantee that you're going to get a platform. You might want to negotiate at a higher rate, or you might not want to put anything into it. It's just like if you start a business tomorrow, I can't guarantee you're going to make money, but I might start the same business and do a lot of things a lot different and outperform you.
But as he suggested, there is no platform. The Adams County Casino has no platform currently. Is that correct?
I'm not sure about that.
Well, thank you.
Lady from Hines, Ms. Yates, for a question.
Thank you. Will the gentleman yield?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so this doesn't have anything to do with wine, so it's outside of my wheelhouse, and I just want to make sure that I understand. There are 26 casinos in the state, correct?
Correct.
All right, and there are how many platforms?
I was told that there's between 30 and 40 platforms that are available to the state of Mississippi today.
Okay, and one casino cannot contract with all 30 of those platforms. One casino can contract with one of the 30, correct?
That's correct.
Okay, but the 30 platforms could contract with all 26 of the casinos.
That's correct.
Okay, so there's nothing to keep any of the casinos in Mississippi from contracting with one of the platforms, correct?
Correct.
And we'll use DraftKings as an example. DraftKings could, in theory, have a contract with all 26 of the casinos. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Thank you.
Gentlemen. All right, I don't see anything further on the bill. Gentlemen, do you yield?
I move final passage.
Gentleman moves final passage. Open the machine, Madam Clerk. If you favor the bill, vote aye. If you're opposed, vote nay. Has everyone voted? Has everyone voted? Close the machine, Madam Clerk. By a vote of 97 yeas, 14 nays, bill passes. All right, I believe that concludes our work for the day. Announcements from the clerk's office.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. If you have not turned in your old laptop and picked up your new one, please take your old one down to the basement and take care of this. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Announcements from the members. Gentleman from Washington, Mr. Hines.
Don't worry about that. We're good.
Gentleman from Bolivar, Mr. Sanders.
Introduction, Mr. Speaker.
You recognize.
Well, if you all help me make welcome, I believe he may have just exited, the Rosedale Bolivar County Port Director, Robert Maxwell. Let's help make him welcome.
Gentleman from Neshoba, Mr. Bounds.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Just a reminder to the members of the Appropriations B Committee that hearings will resume upon adjournment.
Gentleman from Prentice, Mr. Arnold.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I want to adjourn in memory. Adjourn in memory.
You're recognized, gentlemen.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I would want to ask the House to join me in adjourning in memory for Janet Marie Sparks. She's one of our school teachers there in Northeast Mississippi. She taught at several high schools. She impacted a lot of people's lives in our community. Thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen. Gentleman from Jones, Mr. Scoggin.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Adjourn in memory.
Give the gentleman your attention. Gentlemen, you're recognized.
Thank you. Yesterday afternoon, former dean at Jones College and former mayor of Ellisville, Mr. Thomas Waldrop, or Tim Waldrop, passed away, and I'd like to adjourn in memory of him today.
Thank you, gentlemen. All right, I don't see any further announcements. I recognize the gentleman from Rankin for the motion.
I move that the House stand adjourned until 9 a.m. tomorrow.
Gentleman's motion is that the House stand adjourned until 9 a.m. tomorrow. If you favor that motion, indicate by saying aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. House stands adjourned until 9 a.m. tomorrow.